an invocation and a little short meditation for us. I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you, Nan. I would just like everyone here to take a nice deep breath, bringing to mind that amazing, amazing power, that source energy that is within us and without us, all around us, everywhere that we are, everywhere that we look. So breathing in that source power that is all love. The love that we could hear in that song and that we could feel in that room is right in us, right where we are. We are each of us in a sacred space, creating our own sacred, unique place to be right now, as we give great thanks for Nan and the energy that she brings for this gathering, for each of us here and all those that are not here. We are blessed in so many ways. And together we say, and so it is. And I have a little short reading from the Science of Mind magazine, the current one in January. And it is an article by Reverend Masato Hirioka. And he talks about choice. Every time we choose, we take part in the creative process. Every time we intentionally enter into our lives, not with avoidance, overwhelm, or greed, but with a sense of faith, we step into our spiritual power. This brings us into harmony with our own being and values. With every decision we make that aligns with the truest part of ourselves, we find and create a more authentic, brilliant, and embodied version of ourselves. So if you would like to just take a minute and focus on that truest part of yourself, I will mind the time. And coming back to this place, I now turn this time over to Nan. Thank you, Nan.
Oh, thank you, Paula. That was a beautiful prayer and meditation time. I really appreciated it. You know, I just want to acknowledge that this has been a very interesting day in the history of the United States, as I'm sure you're all aware. And we're going to do a little special thing at the end of our service tonight to acknowledge that. So, moving along with our service, I just want to welcome everybody again. And for those of you who are here for the first time, it's wonderful to see you here. I am Nan Bankston, and I'm a licensed practitioner here at the center, and soon to be a licensed minister of religious science, pending my panel next week. It'll be by this time next week, they will have decided if I'm fit to do the job. So by next Wednesday, I will be introducing myself in a different way, I think. Anyway, I opened our time this evening with Michael Gott at Mile High Church singing Amazing Things because my talk title tonight is Evolutionary Vision. And we have to believe, feel, and know that we are capable of amazing things. I quote from scripture of Ephesians 3:20. There is a power at work within us that is able to accomplish abundantly far more than all we can ask or imagine. Sounds like Dr. Holmes, doesn't it? And from our own founder, Dr. Ernest Holmes, he wrote in Ideas of Power Particularly in ancient Hindu philosophy, the philosophy of Emerson and Troward and modern science is the thought that we are all in the process of evolution, unfoldment. It is in our spiritual DNA to evolve and more fully embody spiritual qualities such as light, love, peace, power, beauty, and joy. Ours is to be open to receive and allow them to blossom to the fullest in our lives. As we open to connect with spirit, we can contemplate a quality that we wish to enhance or increase in our daily activities. Simply put, grounded in spirit, we are open to receive inspiration from the divine. There is a pattern of divine perfection in us that exists in all creation that guides our evolution. And to illustrate that, I'd like to read a little excerpt from a book by Nori Huddle titled Butterfly, and I think you'll enjoy it. We know that caterpillars start out as creepy crawlers until they have consumed enough food and found a spot to form their chrysalis, which is essential as their chamber of transformation. In there, the caterpillars essentially dissolve and begin to form new cells. The caterpillar's new cells are called imaginal cells. They resonate at a different frequency. They are so totally different from the caterpillar cells that the immune system thinks they are enemies and gobbles them up, chomp, chomp, chomp. But these new imaginal cells continue to appear, more and more of them, and pretty soon the caterpillar's immune system cannot destroy them fast enough. More and more of the imaginal cells survive, and then an amazing thing happens. The little tiny, lonely, imaginal cells start to clump together into friendly little groups. They all resonate together at the same frequency, passing information from one to another. Then, after a while, another amazing thing happens. The clumps of imaginal cells start to cluster together. A long string of clumping and clustering imaginal cells, all resonating at the same frequency, all passing information from one to another there inside the chrysalis. A wave of good news travels throughout the system, lurches and heaves, but not yet a butterfly. Then, at some point, the entire long string of imaginal cells suddenly realizes altogether that it is something different from the caterpillar, something new, something wonderful. And in that realization is the shout of the birth of the butterfly. Since the butterfly now knows that it is a butterfly, the little tiny imaginal cells no longer have to do all those things individual cells have to do. Now they are part of a multi-celled organism, a family who can share the work. Each new butterfly cell can take on a different job. There is something for everyone to do, and everyone is important. And each cell begins to do just that very thing it is most drawn to do. And every other cell encourages it to do just that. What a great way to organize a butterfly. And a great way to organize a life. And a great way to organize an evolutionary vision. The wisdom is already in us. Evolutionary vision applies to our own lives as well as our organizational global vision, Centers for Spiritual Living, of a world that works for all. So how does it work? What does it mean? And how do we activate it as individuals? What is ours to do? We begin by recognizing something that Dr. Holmes writes in this thing called you. You belong to the universe in which you live. You are one with the creative genius back of this vast array of ceaseless motion, this original flow of life. You are as much a part of it as the sun, the earth, and the air. There is something in you telling you this, like a voice echoing from some mountaintop of inward vision, like a light whose origin no man has seen, like an impulse welling up from an invisible source. Well, we are all cells in the manifest body of spirit on this planet. We have the innate wisdom and power to do amazing things with our individual lives that are part of it all. Nothing too small or too large, but that which is ours to do. Just like those imaginal cells, each of us can do just that very thing we are now drawn to do. Every one of us is important. We have recognition and the awareness that now we are a part of a multi-celled organism, a family who can share the work, the family of humanity and all creation. That work for each of us as individual cells is unique and ours only. And as we are drawn and compelled to follow that inner wisdom that is always within us, we begin to create our own reality, then to work with others. We begin to create that family of individuals, like-minded, who are working together. And just like that caterpillar's imaginal cells, we can form that string, cheering each other along to form a manifest plane of existence that is a world that works for all. It's not a dream any longer. It's not an abstract notion. It's each of ours to do as we recognize that we belong to each other. You know, we often say, and you'll hear Reverend Stephen say in his talks, there's only one of us here, and that everything is God. And we are all connected. And I found it absolutely amazing, but I heard Reverend Raphael Warnock make a statement on the news this morning that was so profoundly supportive of what each of us being connected to all life. And I paraphrase here what he said, but essentially he said, the pandemic has shifted us into a recognition that we are all connected and intimately connected as physical beings. We are all now connected by this pandemic simply by a cough or a sneeze. That is how closely we are connected to each other. And that has become so clear during this pandemic. Well, I was moved to hear that because that's evidence of the consciousness that is growing and shifting in this time. And this is a time for each of us to be aware of our unique place in this world. It's a time for us to begin to work together, to cheer each other on, to celebrate our successes, to recognize the divinity in each of us, to say, Namaste, the God in me beholds the God in you. And in so doing, we become the co-creators of a world that works for all. Dr. Holmes wrote, evolution is proof of an irresistible urge which pushes everything onward and upward. Humans did not create life. We are something that lives in, from, and by it. We cannot escape life or the necessity of giving expression to it through our living. So I'd like to share this thought from Dr. Christian Sorensen. He asks, where are you going if you have no purpose? It's written, without vision, the people perish. When you become aware of your true identity, you move into right relationship with the world. Consciousness is the creative avenue through which the power flows. According to spiritual principle, it is done unto you as you believe. The law is neutral and responds with an amazing infinite ability to manifest according to the direction given it. When you are in tune with the infinite, the instruction comes from a higher vision than your earthly mind. Step away from your worldly needs and open up to your soul's desire. Find the courage to trust the vision, and you will find all your worldly needs taken care of even before you know what they are. The intelligence that guides the universe is ready to give guidance to your life. Are you ready? So, to answer that question, I encourage you this next week to open to divine inspiration, to move beyond stagnation and fear, to begin to be that to which you are drawn, the true nature of the spiritual being that you are. Only you can be you. Allow yourself to dream. Allow yourself to sing with your hand over your heart. I will do amazing things. And as I do amazing things, I join with others and we will do amazing things. And that's evolutionary vision. And so it is. So right now, I'd like to say a prayer as is our custom. So as I bring to mind that one infinite loving spirit, that divine presence of love that is everywhere in and through all creation, I know that it is here with us right now, that we have created this container of love that is a family of humanity coming together with a common belief, a common cause, a draw, like that, like the imaginal cells of the caterpillar, all cheering each other on, allowing each other to be individuals and yet supportive in every way. And I bless that. I bless each person here in the sound of my voice and each person who is not in the sound of my voice. And I speak a special word of peace today, knowing that we are in a time of conscious shift when the consciousness of the planet is moving in ways that we may not understand, but trusting that the infinite intelligence and wisdom knows exactly what is happening and that love always prevails. Love always prevails. And knowing that this is true, I simply give great, great thanks from my heart, overflowing with joy and gratitude. And as I do so, I release these words directly into the law of mind that always says, yes, my beloveds, yes. And so it is. Amen. And so now it is our custom to have our offertory celebration, our celebration of prosperity for all of us. So if you want to take your prosperity consciousness and place it over your heart, I just want to thank everyone for the gifts that they give to our center to keep it going. And just take that prosperity of your life, hold it over your heart. And as we do so, and you can just send your gift out, whatever it may be, into the universe, we just do so with this affirmation. I give my gift as I envision a world that works for all. I give my gift as I envision a world that works for all. And you can give your gifts in whatever manner is best for you. And so it is. And so I bless these gifts. I bless these gifts that are the love of pure spirit moving in through and as each divine unique being in the abundant flow of the divine universe that provides infinitely for all of us. I give thanks, and so it is. And so usually we have had a candlelight ceremony, but tonight we were going to have a candlelight ceremony, and we're still going to do candlelight. Usually in the past couple of months, we have done an inclusivity prayer. And tonight I was going to do a ceremony that honors all faiths. But given the events of today, I wanted to share a special poem that our founder, Ernest Holmes, wrote. And we want to acknowledge that this is a unique day in the history of the country, not unlike many of the others that happened in the 1800s and way before, that this is a time of change. And yet, when Ernest Holmes wrote this prayer, we were in a state of change then too. And we know that change is a given. So rather than being afraid and rather than being unsettled, I'm going to read this prayer, a prayer for our country that Ernest Holmes wrote back many years ago. And he writes, we light that candle, Paula lit that candle as a signal of the unity and the oneness that is the truth of all creation. Believing in the divine destiny of the United States of America and in the preservation of liberty, security, and self-expression, I offer this prayer, my prayer for my country. I know that divine intelligence governs the destiny of the United States of America, directing the thought and the activity of all who guide its affairs. I know that success, prosperity, and happiness are the gifts of freedom and are the divine heritage of everyone in this country. I know that success, prosperity, and happiness are now operating in the affairs of every individual in this country. I know that divine guidance enlightens the collective mind of the people of this country, causing it to know that economic security may come to all without the loss of either personal freedom or individual expression. I know that no one can believe or be led to believe that freedom must be surrendered in order to ensure economic security for all. The all-knowing mind of God contains the answer to every problem which confronts this country. And I know that every leader in this country is now directed to this all-knowing mind and has the knowledge of a complete solution to every problem, and each is compelled to act upon this knowledge to the end that abundance, security, and peace shall come to all. And I know that this spiritual democracy shall endure, guaranteeing to everyone in this country personal liberty, happiness, and self-expression. And so it is. And so now I'd just like for us to take a couple moments of silent meditation, knowing that happiness, self-expression, and personal liberty are guaranteed, along with abundance and security and peace for everyone. And with our hearts filled with the idea, the thought, the knowing of the truth of peace and happiness that is everyone's divine right heritage, I invite you to return to this time with your heart overflowing with that peace and ease. And just place your hand over your heart and just allow yourself to feel that peace and happiness and ease bubbling up out of your heart center into your hands, spilling over. And placing your hands together, I just invite you to rub them together. And we're going to go 1, 2, 3, and allow the peace and harmony and ease to go whoosh out into our homes, our communities, throughout our country, around the globe, and out into the cosmos and the beyond. And so it is. And that concludes our service for tonight. And I'm so blessed to have you all here. I bless each of you along your way today.